evidence. It's time we put an end to this.
That monkey saved my life.
How do you know he wasn't there to kill you? Another hit on his list.
He's one of the good guys.
Your code? You're only going to kill killers. Do you really want to fight with one hand tied behind your back? I know you can use your feet too. That's not the goddamn point.
Yeah, that's right, man. Let's dive into this.
Welcome to Cordkillers, the show about watching the stuff you love when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey, I'm Brian Brushwood, and most importantly, that was the voice of Jason Sudeikis, ? I don't know who plays who, but
He
that
plays
was
the ghost.
Hit Monkey, right?
Ooh.
That's right. That was the trailer for Hulu's upcoming Marvel's Hit Monkey. It does star Jason Sudeikis. He plays a dead hitman who becomes spiritually linked to a wild monkey, and so that monkey turns into a hitman.
As one does.
I mean, seriously, Hollywood, any new ideas?
That's coming November 17 to Hulu.
That's great. Well, folks, we are here but for one purpose, and that is to help you, help yourselves, have a good time. So let's start with the primary target.
Yep.
So, Brian, I guess this is the new thing now, is that intellectual property company holds fan event around intellectual property, throws out 1,000 trailers and announcements of things involving that intellectual property, and then we all choke on all of the news. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, I think it used to be a blend of different intellectual properties from different corporations.
Like at a Comic-Con or something.
Right, exactly. But it was all
right.
tied around a physical space, but now they've realized they can detach the space from the story. And so now it's like, well, why not have Comic-Con every weekend? All we have to do is make sure there's no other Comic-Cons happening during our Comic-Con.
Maybe I'm coloring, maybe my perspective is colored with bias, but I feel like Star Wars Celebration generally doesn't break as much news as DC FanDome and Netflix's Tadum have both done.
Well, you know what? There's only one way to test this for sure, Tom, and that's for us to go laboriously through the new news that has just come out.
All right. I couldn't think of any clever DC related way for you to react like I did with Netflix's Tadum. So react however you want.
With Marvel metaphors is what I'll do.
React to these DC announcements with Marvel metaphors. That's perfect. Okay, but we'll start with the big one. This is one that I was excited to see. We got a trailer for The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson as the Batman. It has Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Colin Farrell as the Penguin. They all make brief appearances, some briefer than others. The Batman scheduled to arrive in theaters March 4th, 2022. Did you watch the trailer? And if so, what is your Marvel-based reaction to the Batman?
We will explain later why I didn't have the time to watch the trailer, and apparently I was the only of the three of us who made this mistake. However, man, remember that feeling when they unveiled the new Tony Stark? When they do, I'd imagine it feels like this.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, as someone who did abdicate his other responsibilities to the show and
I'm so
the
happy
trailer,
we're equally guilty. You have no idea how happy I am.
I liked this trailer, and I thought it looked like a fun Batman movie, but I was surprised how much it felt like the previous Batman movies, not the Ben Affleck ones, but the Christian Bale ones. To me, if you hadn't told me Robert Pattinson was in the suit, I wouldn't have known until we saw him as Bruce Wayne, which is a little bit later in the trailer.
Is this the thing? No, as a matter of fact, I'm seeing the next item is the thing, but in my non-DC brain, all I know is that there's some kind of Batman thing that's going to involve like an Into the Spider-Verse of
that's the Flash,
DC
right?
Characters, right?
Well, that's the big question, is they're saying the Batman with Robert Pattinson exists outside of the DC Wonder Woman, Superman, Ben Affleck, Batman continuum, that it's a standalone. But Eileen pointed out to me, my wife pointed out to me, this feels like the Joker.
Right.
The Batman looks like the Batman that the Joker would appear in. And she wondered if maybe this is continuous from that. Like, will DC have several universes, which could then become some sort of flashpoint for telling other stories, which leads us to the teaser for the Flash movie centered around the DC Flashpoint storyline. And that did include a view of Batman from behind. The cowl looks like the cowl that Michael Keaton wore to play Batman in those movies in the late 80s, early 90s. No date on the Flash movie yet. They just said it's in production.
Yeah. So to be honest, I don't know whether or not the Batman is the same universe as the Joker or whatever. And part of me really deeply hopes that they're not, because a return to the idea that a singular story can live on its own and doesn't have to be part of a big franchise, doesn't have to be leading off the next 7 years of whatever's. Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be real nice.
I feel like the Batman probably is spiritually like the Joker in so much as the Joker was a standalone. They said this isn't going to tie into anything else. This isn't even the Joker's origin story. And
maybe
I feel like
not
maybe
even the Joker as you know him.
Way.
Maybe it's a totally different Joker. It is a movie called Joker about somebody who resembles the Joker.
And so the Batman, I think, is that maybe feels that similar, not because it's going to be connected, but just because it's like that. It's like, yeah, this is just a movie about the Batman and based on the Batman story, which is different than other Batman stories. And Flash is for those of you who are like, no, I want everything connected. I want Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson and all of them to show up in a multiverse. I mean, a Flashpoint oriented story, and the Flash will be that.
I mean, as somebody who very much is enjoying What If, I would be a fraud if I didn't confess to, like, I understand that impulse, but
yeah, I think it'll be fun. I can't wait to. I mean, already in this trailer, you see multiple Ezra Millers. We've seen Ezra Miller show up in the TV series The Flash, along with other Flashes, and that series has had multiple Flashes, some old, some new. In fact, they showed off a new costume for Grant Gustin's version of The Flash, which returns to the CW on November 16th.
Right on.
Yeah. We also got to look at Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. Black Adam, the movie, will also star Pierce Brosnan, former James Bond, as Dr. Fate. Lots of other cool people in that movie coming July 29th, 2022.
So the bigger question to me is this a landmark moment of we're back to normal with movie going, or is this like one of you know, a whole bunch of movies that are going to go with the flow and it'll be this wave of normalcy that comes back to us?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. The Black Adam's the best one to test that theory on, to be honest. You're just saying that because of the date?
Partly the date, but also because of the relatively weak branding power of Black Adam. I mean, if they're announcing a date,
well, they were planning Black Adam before the pandemic, so they were going to come with it at some point. It's going to be July next year. I don't know. I think there's more to Black Adam as a, hey folks, here's an underrepresented group. This is the Black Panther of the DC universe, and Dwayne Johnson's got super star power. So please enjoy Black Adam. And honestly, it looks great.
Right on.
Jason Momoa introduced a behind the scenes look at Aquaman's new suit. You also got to see Black Manta, Orm, aka Ocean Master. That's all for the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom coming December 16th, 2022.
Tom, I didn't care for that movie very much. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Even as like a dumb fun movie, as like a, because that's the way I could appreciate Aquaman, as like a big dumb fun movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't dumb enough or fun enough. If it was trying to be Flash Gordon, it missed the mark. If it was trying to be better than Ant-Man, it missed the mark. That's
all right. Also, we're like farther out on that, so this wasn't a proper trailer. I'm gonna hold my own judgment till that. Patty Jenkins confirmed she will direct a third Wonder Woman movie. So they're gonna make another Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot, and Patty Jenkins will be directing.
I'm actually really glad that they're not making any hard turns in any direction on this franchise, because while I didn't think the second movie was terribly great, it did feel on purpose in a way that we haven't seen from a lot of DC movies, in alignment with the first movie as well. So I'm glad to see wherever this goes, and maybe I don't end up liking the last one, but I'm glad that they're continuing the same path.
Got another clip of John Cena as Peacemaker, the Peacemaker show coming to HBO Max January 13th. This was a lot of different looks, not a single clip like we had last time. And it looks fun. I'll be honest. It looks like even without James Gunn, directly running the show or anything, they're keeping that vibe.
I would imagine that, like, once James Gunn tells the joke, a lot of people are able to tell their version of the joke at various parties, right? So like, I think it could be very, very good.
Yeah. There was a behind-the-scenes look at Shazam. Speaking of the Black Adam connections, Black Adam leading up to Shazam. Shazam: Fury of the Gods coming June 2023, a couple years off. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu will play villainous gods. So this was kind of a little more of the making of. It seems like what they were doing at FanDome is, if they weren't ready to put out a trailer, they would kind of package up some of the stuff they did have and do it behind the scenes. That's what they did here. Are
you? This is the second time you've hinted at it. Like, are you down with these info dumps, these fake Comic-Cons that they're doing?
I hate them.
Okay. All right.
I
just wanted to make sure. Like, I didn't feel like it was my place to out you, but since you've outed yourself, thank you.
Yeah. I tell you why I hate them. Not because I hate fans. If I was like a super fan of DC or Netflix, I guess I'd be all into them, but I hate them purely selfishly as someone who has to cover all of them. And I don't care enough about all of them to be excited. And then even with the ones I love DC stuff, I'm a big fan of Shazam and Batman and Flash. But even then I was like, but I have to, there's so much. Couldn't you just, slowly parceled this out over a longer period of time so we could sink our teeth into it and enjoy it? Even as a fan, I feel short shrift because I'm like, I don't have enough time to enjoy all of this. As
a tastemaker, it's doubly flummoxing because it's like, it's this weird guessing game where it's like, we're not going to get the right one. We're going to say we're excited about X, Y, or Z, and it's going to turn out to be B that is the one that turns out to be the big hit. It's like, I don't want to play your guessing game.
Yeah. I do like watching the trailers and getting excited. And the Shazam, Black Adam, and the Batman particularly, even though I'm a big fan of the Flash thing just didn't, I'm like, no. Show me 7 Batman. Don't just show me the back of one. That's not enough. I'm sure that's entirely unfair, but that's just honestly how I felt. Doom Patrol got renewed for season 4, and they showed off a new trailer for the rest of season 3. They also announced Titans has been renewed for season 4, and a trailer for the season 3 finale, which airs October 21st, was released. Both of those on HBO Max. I've talked before about my struggles to continue to watch Doom Patrol. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it, but I don't keep going. And I have not gotten into Titans yet. Have you watched either of these?
Neither of those. However, I have successfully been seduced by Harley Quinn, which is on HBO Max.
Preview clip of season 3 of Harley Quinn.
So good.
Which was
great.
So
good.
Because they don't have any animation done. And so they showed like half done animation with a voiceover and then made that part of the pitch. That was great.
It's amazing, and I am reluctant to say these words out loud, but thank you, Meryl Barr, for badgering me constantly to watch.
Why are you reluctant?
Because now the door's open. He's going to, well, now you got to try all that stuff.
Yeah, but what if he's right and you enjoy everything? Yeah, I have not. enjoyed every single thing Meryl has ever recommended to me, but I absolutely let's pretend, even though this isn't true, that everything he ever recommended to me sucked. Harley Quinn was so good, it would make up for all of that.
Yes.
It's really, really that good. Batwoman and Alice got a new trailer for season 3 on the CW, letting me know that Batwoman and Alice had 2 seasons on the CW. I don't know when I missed that, but they did. Also coming next year and getting a teaser is a CW series called Naomi from Ava DuVernay. So this, I know that a lot of people with their knee-jerk analysis would be like, obviously all the DC stuff will be on HBO Max because Warner owns that and they own DC. But it looks like, nope, they're still going to make some teen, younger-oriented series on the CW.
That's not a bad idea if you step back a little bit and think about the way Disney Plus treats its content differently on Disney Plus versus FX on Hulu, right? There's adultish and then whatever.
Right.
So HBO Max would appear to be the land of more adult-based material, like your Harley Quinns and so on. And then meanwhile, it's like if you're going to do your more teen angsty things, you would do that on CW.
Which is weird because HBO Max has strong kids offerings, like Sesame Street, for instance. So it would still be tempting to just like run the gamut. But I guess the other weird thing is CW doesn't have a paid for streaming service. I don't know. It's CW broadcasting on television with an ad-supported app apparently works.
I can't put words to why it feels right, but it does feel right to carve up your own DC related offerings and put them in categories so that parents, without having to invest much thought, are able to feel like, yes, that's okay. Oh, wait, no, this one I have to give a look at.
There were lots of other announcements involving the comics and video games, but 3 more TV and movie related ones that we'll get to here. They showed off what Gwendolyn Christie will look like as Lucifer in Netflix's The Sandman, another DC property, not CW is at least partially owned by Warner. Netflix is just getting the property from them. There was a brief peek at League of Super Pets, an animated movie that will apparently have a full trailer in November, star-powered lineup for the voices there. And here's one that is counter to what we've just been talking about. Season 3 of Pennyworth, the original story of Batman's butler, Alfred, moving from Epix to HBO Max.
I mean, could that be either an indication of how much longer a on-ramp they perceive this property to have, or B, an excuse to start becoming more adult with their theming on everything? Because
I don't think Epix is particularly kid-oriented, so I don't
correct,
perceive
but
that.
but also CW is not particularly anti-kid, but
There's
yet,
CW isn't involved in Pennyworth at all.
Correct. But my point being, just as technically I can't point to the reason why some DC stuff should be on CW and some should be on HBO Max. Similarly, whatever voodoo they're doing, I can see belonging in this.
I think what's happening with Pennyworth is that Epix either can't afford to continue to make it at the level they want, isn't getting the numbers out of it that they want, and Warner very wisely didn't wait around for Epix to cancel it and then save it. They just said, no, we'll just move it to HBO Max. We'll keep making it. Why not?
And we have seen other programs do exactly that.
Yeah.
I mean, even before the over-the-top networks, back when DirecTV would help out a show like Friday Night Lights or what have you.
4 years ago when they launched Pennyworth, the world was a different place for Warner Media than it is now. So,
right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, 4 years. I mean, young upstarts like Warner Media probably feel like 4 years is a long time, but this show's been going for almost 8 years, Brian.
Wait. Say that again.
This show, Cordkillers, not even counting frame rate, has been going for almost 8 years.
For 8 years, we've been
It'll be 8
live
years
and independent.
towards
Just
the end of
able to
September.
say whatever
December.
we want with no
Yep.
repercussions, no pressure from the bosses upstairs, no advertisers coming at us saying like, hey, could you lay off of blankety blank or whatever?
Yeah.
8 years?
8 years.
How is that possible?
Physicists are still trying to figure that out.
No, I'll tell you how it's possible is that
Oh,
we
okay.
have over 1,000 bosses over at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
I
They
thought you
keep
meant
us
the
live.
years
I
part.
was
Okay,
trying to
yeah.
tee
No,
you up for this.
You
This
were
is
going
fine.
with the economics. I was going with the how space-time works. That's a much easier
No,
question.
that's
Yeah.
fine. The important thing is that anybody who's contributing, who's paying us just $1 an episode, it'll mean nothing to you. It means the world to us. You get to be an actual boss. Please join the legions of folks over at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
You don't have to know any physics. You don't have to be able to explain how time exists. You just need $2. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe $1, but 2 would be better. Patreon.com/Cordkillers.
You probably know a little bit of physics.
Or at least math. Let's talk about how to watch. This one's good news. I got good news. I've been not fighting. I have been talking with people who are angry because they haven't been fighting me. They're fighting the other people about blackouts in sports. Good news may be coming. The New York Post, 50-50 record on these sorts of things. They have some good sources though, so who knows, maybe. New York Post sources say Major League Baseball is in talks to adjust its streaming service in a way that would let fans watch all the games, not just the games that are not otherwise broadcast in their markets. If you don't know, right now, Major League Baseball offers a service in the US called MLB.TV. That service lets you access any game not in your home market on a regional sports network. Now, if you don't watch baseball, you may be like, who's that good for? Well, it's good for me. I want to watch the Cardinals. They're not on cable in Los Angeles, and I can pay this service and watch the Cardinals. And why would I want to pay a service to watch the Dodgers and Angels? They're on cable here. That's where the idea stems from. The version of the service was originally offered over cable. And since you had cable with the local sports net, the local channel wanted you to watch that channel and make sure they got credit for the viewing so they could charge for their ads and get their carriage fees. When Major League Baseball started offering the internet version of this, that idea remained. Regional sports networks would not easily be able to charge advertisers for ads shown online. And still, that's still an issue. So they required MLB to make them the only option for the local team. Now, that's understandable, unless, of course, you live in an area deemed to be the local market, but your local cable service doesn't offer the channel. It's annoying to have to get a separate service to watch a team. It's really annoying when that service isn't even available, but they're blocking out on MLB because they think you're near enough to Cleveland. Most famous example of this happened in Los Angeles. About a couple of years ago, it stopped being as much of a problem. But for years, Time Warner Cable was the only service that carried the Dodgers games. And half of Los Angeles was either in a Charter or Comcast area, and they didn't carry Sportsnet LA. So there was literally no legal option for them to watch their local baseball team. Anyway, that eased when Charter and Time Warner merged. The New York Post says that the NHL and NBA are considering partnering up with MLB on a new service that wouldn't have any of these blackouts. The idea would be to pay the regional sports networks who create the broadcasts a cut of the revenue from the online service in order to make up for any lost revenue they would get from carriage fees. MLB would make its money on internet-only ads and a $10 to $20 a month subscription fee. You may be asking, why didn't they do that years ago? Years ago, the economics weren't there. Now, the decline in cable revenue, the decline in viewership means that these regional sports networks are a little more willing to take some money from MLB because the MLB is like, more people are online now. We can get more money than we could have 10 years ago. The major player MLB will have to convince is Sinclair. Sinclair owns the broadcast rights for 14 Major League Baseball teams, 16 NBA teams, and 12 NHL teams. Sinclair has wanted to start its own streaming service independent of cable with the rights that it has, but it has struggled to finance it because they spent a lot to acquire these regional sports networks from Fox. And I don't think they're broke, but they're not flush. So a partnership with MLB and the other leagues may be the best way forward for Sinclair. One proposal being considered is for MLB to just pay the fees Sinclair pays to carry the team or cut the fees by $1 billion. Just take $1 billion off what it pays to have the rights to carry the teams in order to get the rights to the stream on the gamble that Major League Baseball will make more than $1 billion off of this new service?
So I got to be honest, Tom. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago was the last time that I really paid attention to this type of story. And I remember thinking, okay, these contracts are locked in for so many years. It's going to be like forever from now till I'll have to think about then. Is this a case of things are happening faster than we expected? Or is it a case of, just like I just found out, we're 8 years into this independent experiment?
Yeah,
like
right.
just congrats, the future is now.
No, I think it's the economics this time. I think these deals are mostly locked up, but Sinclair is feeling the crunch. Major League Baseball knows that, you know what? Every year, the projections for doing this move just make more and more money. Like, it's worth it to consider maybe cutting your fee. It's worth it to pay you off. It's worth it to cut you in and get this, because we'll make more money and you'll make more money. And the only people who lose out are the cable companies, who could slash the carriage fees, I guess. But they're losing viewership all the time. And in this case, it's what I often say is consumers only lose in the short term. Wait long enough and the consumers generally win, and it stays that way.
Right.
We may be finally at the point where the consumers are about to win.
So Bryce, you tried to play by the rules.
I tried to do it right.
How did that go?
So over the weekend, I tried to watch an MLS game. The Austin FC is our new soccer team, and I know ESPN Plus has the rights to MLS, and so I was gonna have a friend over. You know, I'll pay $9 to watch the game. I'll pay it for the one game. Heck, I mean, it's cheaper than the ticket. And we loaded it up right when the game was about to start. It was blacked out, and you know, I'm relatively new getting into watching some of these sporting, and I'm trying to, you know, it's hard with football, and it's hard, especially with college football, but I'm trying to do it right. I don't want to go elsewhere to find the things that I want to see, and I had to rely. Do you know how I had to watch this game?
I don't know, but I really love that we're
You
in a secret
you paid
club.
a cable installer to rapidly install cable so you could watch it on local Spectrum cable.
I
No?
love the fact that all three of us at various times in our lives have wandered outside the boundaries of normal content acquisition, and yet now we host a show where we're really trying to be good boys.
Absolutely.
And follow the rules.
Absolutely. I would, to me, I was willing to pay for a month of ESPN Plus, sight unseen, clearly not even knowing that there was a blackout because it was a home game and the stadium wasn't full. So we had to do the old tried and true method. I had to go to my car and get a paperclip, jam it into my TV, and grab a local digital air and watch the local CW signal.
So it was, hold on. So it was not blacked out because the stadium wasn't full.
I don't know.
Because it wouldn't have been on the air if that was the case. And this is a common misconception. That's why I want to interrogate this.
I don't know the reason. I know I clicked ESPN Plus and it said this is not available in your region. And I watched the game and there were empty seats.
The reason ESPN Plus wouldn't show you is what I was just talking about minutes ago, where the local broadcaster doesn't want you to watch it on ESPN. They want you to watch it on them so they get credit for the ads. So it's not actually a blackout.
Oh.
Blackout refers to the old NFL thing, which went away in like 2014. They haven't done it since, where if you didn't sell enough tickets, they wouldn't air it in the local market. Nobody does that anymore.
Oh, I just assumed that was the whole deal of it.
That is not it. And I wonder
sucks even
sometimes
more.
why ESPN and MLB.com and all these call it a blackout, because when they call it a blackout, it makes people think that, and it has nothing to do with it. It's entirely your local broadcaster saying, no, I'm the only one that gets to show it here. So you can't show it on ESPN. They either have to pay for cable or stick a paperclip in their TV and watch it that way.
And you know, I'm a little spoiled because I've recently been watching Formula One, and Formula One makes it easy. They own all the rights, so you just pay them $10 a month and you just watch it, and you don't worry
because
about it.
there's no equivalent of the local broadcaster with racing, right?
And so like I thought $9 was, like I said, I would pay $9 on a pay-per-view level even to just watch that game. but it was not capable. And
you will get there. You will get to do that
yeah.
someday. That's what this story is saying, is the pressures are finally coming to bear to break that lock that the regional sports networks and the local broadcasters have had over all of this.
Hope they figure it
Because
out.
really, honestly, if I'm watching it, it shouldn't matter if I'm watching it through ESPN Plus or Spectrum or DirecTV or the MLB.TV app.
I mean, yes, to you, none of those things matter.
Well, no, it shouldn't
but of
matter even
course-
on the other end. It shouldn't matter on the other end because, like, it's not like the regional sports network directly broadcast into my house. They go through a carrier. ESPN Plus and MLB.TV are just different carriers.
Correct. But whoever those carriers are the ones who get to brag about the number of households that are getting this many eyeballs at whatever time.
Well, it's the regional sports network that gets to brag. And that's my point, is like, you're still getting the eyeball because it's still, this is the thing you may or may not realize. It's still the regional sports network's broadcast that you see on all of these.
Right.
Same announcers, same in-game advertisements, all of that. It's not the advertisements in between are not the same, but when they say it's, it's the T-Mobile call to the bullpen, that's the same on all of them. So they should be able to monetize that. They should get a cut, just be like, yeah, I give a cut to, or Spectrum pays me to carry me. You pay me to carry me and I'll let you carry me too. But the economics just haven't worked.
I mean, it's got to just be these old deals. Like if you were designing these leagues today, you would make it more direct to consumer friendly and make it so that you can overlap with cable or over the top streaming services. You like there needs to be more, there will be more pushes to make it easier, but man, it was very frustrating in that moment because I thought I did everything right. And then I ended up missing the first 10 minutes of the game because we had to troubleshoot this whole thing. And then you get very stressed and you're having people over and all of this stuff. And so it was just a very weird, and then we lost the game also. So just insult to injury.
Yeah,
I've been pretty skeptical, pretty sour grapes about the whole thing in general. But I got to tell you, I'm beginning to become a cheerleader for like we're very close. We're
so
very
close.
very close. Like it's going to make more sense to make it easy to get the thing that you want. And
because I'm not going to buy cable. The solution wouldn't be me buying cable. It would be something. It would be something else.
Exactly.
The alternative we were talking about was let's go to my house because I have an antenna, which would have been
But I guess for me, I'm having a moment where I'm realizing, oh my God, I really feel this. We are closer to that being the solution than we are to throwing it away.
In the past, the leverage of the cable companies was enough to keep the regional sports networks from agreeing to anything like the New York Post is saying they might be willing to agree. Because what the cable company would say is, hey, you go make that deal with MLB, great. We will not pay you as much because if someone can get it somewhere else, it's not as valuable to us. We pay for the exclusive. And that leverage is going away. That leverage is evaporating. That leverage is becoming less leverage because people just aren't on the cable system anymore. Right. So that on top of a knowledge gap, the thing you could have done, Bryce, is, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing you could have found a YouTube TV or Direct TV stream or Sling TV that had the channel. You go to Suppose.tv, you put the channel in and see. You could have done that too. And that's usually my response to people who are like, I can't even get my local team without getting cable. I'm like, yeah, you can. Except in a few areas. There are a few areas where even the local streaming options and cable options don't have it.
Yeah. And I think if I had enough foresight on that restriction, I probably would have at least tried it. But even then, that's still pretty expensive. This can be $50, $60, $70 a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where the price doesn't make sense. I would pay $9, $10, $15 for a pay-per-view just to watch that game, but I'm not going to pay $70 a month to YouTube for the same privilege.
Yeah, you might be able to luck into paying $25 on Sling in the right condition, but that's the cheapest it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be most channels. Also, that's not a good way. Like, as much as I want to say that to people of like, no, you can. It's like, you just need to have all the knowledge I have from doing 8 years of Cordkillers and be willing to pay $50. That's all you need to do. And that's not the way it should work. It should be easy.
I mean, I don't see what the big deal is. All you have to do is follow this every single week for hours at a time.
You just got to get a faster horse.
Even Bryce, who produces this show, had trouble with this. That's how messed up this is.
I thought I was right.
Which, by the way, nothing brings me more joy than one of our own, like, forgetting any of this stuff. It's like,
if any of you have struggled with this, feel better right now.
Yes.
Because
Cordkillers@gmail.com. Admit that.
The one thing,
share this moment with us.
We reported last week ESPN Plus doesn't have anything, and I couldn't watch the one thing I wanted on it.
This is the reverse of that. I subscribe to ESPN Plus because it gets me the BC Lions games and gets me some extra hockey games here and there. But in the past, it hasn't been every game. This year, I reported on this show that they have signed a deal with the NHL to carry all the NHL games, and still was surprised over the weekend when the Blues game was on. I'm like, oh, it's on ESPN Plus. Look at that.
Happy. You have no idea. I feel like a kindred spirit. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the difficulties of how to watch. Let's talk about what to watch and under surveillance.
I like real estate. It's all about location.
Under surveillance.
Another trailer was released for the Peter Jackson documentary series about the Beatles called Get Back. As you may know, it takes footage that was shot during the creation of the album Let It Be, turned into a documentary back in the day. Other people have recut portions of it, but this is the most access any filmmaker has had since the beginning. In fact, a CD box set with remasters and alternate mixes of the Let It Be album came out last Friday. And if you're interested, Get Back arrives on Disney Plus November 25th, releasing in 3 parts over 3 consecutive nights. So the 25th, 26th, and 27th.
2 facts. Number 1, I'm super, super into this. I cannot wait to watch it. I cannot wait for the feeling of being present in the room during history, musical history being made and all that stuff. Second fact, I am old. Bryce, does this matter to you at all?
If it's good, if it's a story that I would be interested if this is like a complete story. If this feels like it is from square one, because I don't know a lot about the Beatles. I don't know a lot about the history of them. Certainly, I would watch this if the idea here is like this is more of a history, because it sounds more like this is about the one album, right?
It is all from the shooting of the one album. Correct.
Yeah. But it looks like the vibe they're going for is like, what must it be like to be in the room for 27 hours straight?
Yeah.
Condensed down to 90 minutes.
That would be cool. I would check it out, especially if it's. You said it's in 3 parts. That's kind of a lot, but I would give it a shot, because I do like stuff like that when you see musicians in the recording booth and you hear how they have to work.
I'm curious how much assumed knowledge Peter Jackson will have for his audience. You know, is he going to tell a lot of the backstory of the Beatles, or is he just going to go like, y'all know the Beatles or you wouldn't be here? Let's just talk about this session.
On top of that, I'm curious how much shading of the Beatles story will occur, where it's like, hey, maybe this is why it turned out that way. Maybe this moment was important.
Yeah, because historically, Paul McCartney was the one who broke up the Beatles and sued the other members. But recently, Paul McCartney says, no, it was John. He walked into the room and said, I'm done. And that's what caused me to sue. So you might get hints about, who's telling the truth there. Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy on Ted Lasso, is teaming up with Ted Lasso showrunner Bill Lawrence on an Apple comedy series called Shrinking. Jason Segel will also write and star in the series as a grieving therapist who starts to tell clients exactly what he thinks. Lawrence also is working on a series called Bad Monkey for Apple, starring Vince Vaughn.
Having just rewatched the last 3 episodes of Ted Lasso season 2, none of these people can do any wrong whatsoever. I wholly endorse all of their products.
Yeah. Even part of me that's like, well, that's funny. He had a therapist character in Ted Lasso. I'm like, yeah, he's good at that. Do what you're good at. So, yeah. Very interested. Disney Plus released a new trailer for Hawkeye and announced that the first 2 episodes will come out November 24th, premiering every Wednesday thereafter.
What the vibe I got, I'm just going to throw this out here, and you guys tell me if it lands with you. Cute. Seems real cute.
Very Christmassy. They got the most wonderful time of the year music playing. And,
And also, they're murdering people with bows and arrows, and there was a terrorist attack recently with bows and arrows.
Oh, the darlings.
But still cute, right?
Yeah, right. Father-daughter. Well, not his daughter, but that dynamic.
I just realized that we're talking to each other, but we're both asking Bryce. Bryce, cute?
Okay.
Is it? Well, I mean, not the word. That's not the word. I don't think. That's not the 4-letter word I think I would use to describe it.
Okay. All right. Maybe this is the final time I'm going to say this, but Disney has announced delays for a few of its Marvel films.
What?
Whoa! No way.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has moved from March 25th to May 6th next year. So not long, just one slot forward. That actually bumps Thor Love and Thunder from May 6th to July 8th, which pushes Black Panther Wakanda Forever from July 8th to November 11th, which pushes the Marvels into 2023 sometime. And finally, Ant-Man and the Wasp goes from February 17th, 2023 to July 28th, which probably means the Marvels comes on February 17th. Also, the new Indiana Jones movie is moving a year from July 29th, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. So really, this news means Indiana Jones got pushed off a year for separate reasons, and all the Marvel movies got bumped down one slot in the schedule for whatever reason.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of vibes that Marvel's right hand doesn't know what its left hand is up to.
Oh, really? I got the vibe of them saying, okay, we're finally getting clarity on what our productions are and what our strategy is going to be. We need to move Doctor Strange from March to May. That's not unheard of, honestly. Remember, they moved Avengers, for goodness sake, a few days. And that just meant we'll just slide everything down one and then we'll be done. I really do. I really feel like that's what's going on here.
I guess I get to be that guy who says, I can't reveal my soy sources, my soy sauce.
Your soy sauce.
But
it's probably Kiko Man.
Okay, fine. You busted me. It is. It's Kiko Man. Kiko Man told me that apparently to some of the people working on the Doctor Strange movie, some of the fairly significant events of What If and Loki were news to them. That's unfounded rumors with Brian Brushwood.
Yeah. What are you, a puzzle in the Matrix? That's crazy stuff.
See, I don't listen to real rumors until they come from Kim Land. It's another soy sauce brand.
Oh, God.
Next door, of course.
Oh, nice pull. Nice soy sauce. I
good.
forgot we had making
good.
soy sauce references for a second there.
He's a real soy boy over here. This one.
Yeah, well.
Hey, if it's delicious. A few other notes here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 confirms that Will Poulter will play Adam Warlock. The White Lotus will bring back Jennifer Coolidge for season 2. We were wondering if it would continue any storylines. Looks like hers will. Starting October 21st, Netflix is adding the original Cowboy Bebop anime so that you can watch it all before the live action adaptation arrives on November 19th. Studio Ghibli's Earwig and the Witch also coming to Netflix on November 18th. There's a trailer out for Scream 5 arriving January 22nd. Saved by the Bell season 2 set a premiere date of November 24th on Peacock. CNN Plus has started advertising for its paid service coming sometime in 2022. And FX on Hulu announced it will not bring Why the Last Man back for a second season. Executive producer Eliza Clark said, quote, "We are committed to finding why its next home." So like The Expanse, maybe it will find a new place.
Yeah, maybe that place is 10 years ago. I strongly suspect that Why the Last Man was a fantastic tale, just told at the wrong time.
I love this season. I love this telling.
Yeah?
I watch it immediately before Cordkillers every day instead of what I'm supposed to be watching, apparently. And I really enjoy it. I think it's clever. I think it's nuanced. I think it's modern. And I think it's compelling. And I'm obviously wrong or alone because it's not getting the viewers enough to convince Hulu to keep it going.
Separately, I don't want to read too much into it, but putting up the original Cowboy Bebop, right before your remake of Cowboy Bebop, would, to me, be an under the radar signal that, hey, we deeply, deeply value what you love about Cowboy Bebop, and that is probably a hint as to what we're going to try to put into Cowboy Bebop.
It's an expression of confidence, isn't it?
I mean,
you have to.
I
don't
say that, but then everybody hits me on Twitter and gets angry and like, no, everything will be garbage. It's always garbage.
Well, I mean, more than that, if you're Netflix and you say we are making a Cowboy Bebop
with the guy.
What? No. If you say we're making Cowboy Bebop and the viewer doesn't say, well, can I also watch the original? And they say no, you go, what? That doesn't even. Come on, put it all under one roof, right? I mean, when they've done other anime adaptations, I believe this is the case. Like with Bleach is on Netflix, at least some of it, I believe.
Yeah.
And because you have to, it would be very strange to say Cowboy Bebop is in multiple homes. This just makes it easier.
Unless they just couldn't get the rights, but obviously they could. So
right.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what we've been watching. Brian, what's been your what have your eyes been on?
You know what's funny is I've been catching my family up with a lot of stuff. So, for example, I've had to watch all of Ted Lasso for the show so we could talk about it, what we do in the shadows, all of that stuff. So I'm going to tell you something my eyes have been off, which is I lately have been turning on. Somebody took all of the Star Wars radio drama plays, the ones that were aired on NPR 20, 30 years ago, and edited them together as a 4.5-hour block that is delightful. And there's no visuals. It's just a new take on that story. I loved it.
Original voices, like
a couple
Carrie
of them.
Fisher?
You definitely have Luke Skywalker and C-3PO, and of course the
Anthony Daniels.
sound effects of R2-D2. But outside of that, everything. There's a respectable Alex Guinness alike and that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool. I had this as an album growing up. The just Star Wars, A New Hope. And I remember being confused by the fact that the voices were mostly, but not all the same. Now that you mentioned that.
I mean, plus also there are vignettes that did not happen in the movies.
Yeah.
It's highly recommended if you've never taken the trip.
Very
please
cool.
do.
Very cool. Rest your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched Star Wars Visions yet?
No, but I suspect the more I hear about it, the more I'm gonna like it.
I don't even care if you like it or not. I don't mean, like to say that angrily or anything. I'm just really curious how it satisfies your desire to see independent stories.
Right.
Because every one of them is that.
We've talked about this. I love the Star Wars expanded universe, the novels, the short stories, all of that stuff.
These are, as far as I know, not even connected to anything.
Correct. But I just love go anywhere, take any direction. Here's a world, run. I'm in.
There was one about a robot who wants to be a Jedi.
Okay. I can actually name the short story from Tales of the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, really?
But,
okay.
Yeah,
I'd be curious if it's the same. Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Cool.
I want to mention that Succession is back for season 3 on HBO Max. I watched it last night along with many other people. It was HBO Max's biggest showing since it became HBO Max. It's not mind-blowing. They took it in a crazy new way. It's picking up right where the story left off at the end of season 2, but I loved that story, and so I'm glad to get more. The only thing I'm upset about is we caught up on Succession after it was already over on season 2, and now I have to wait.
Oh yeah, you can't binge it.
Yeah. So,
but I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm on the train with you, Tom. Choo choo.
Good.
Succession time.
Well, it's time to make Merrill Barr's dreams come true. He was shouting about this in our chat room moments ago. Bryce, what should we be on the lookout for?
Hi, we got a pick from Josh who writes, "Hi, Tom /Brian/Bryce. I wanted to share a show recommendation for you. It's Southland on HBO Max. It's a cop show about people in the LAPD precinct and how they deal with crimes. It's not all about the crimes necessarily, but about the people and how there's not necessarily a black and white decision or morality. There's shades of gray. It's an excellent series, and I highly recommend it. Thanks, Josh M. Thank you, Josh. Yeah, friend of the show, Meryl Barr, has spoken incredibly highly about Southland. And it's on HBO Max at the moment. There are 5 seasons of it. It's all there. Check it out. It's called Southland, all one word. If you've got something we should be on the lookout for, email it to us, please. Cordkillers@gmail.com. He's all caps laughing because I guess he tricked us. I think he tricked us. Does that mean he tricked us? When people laugh at me like that, that means they tricked me.
Yeah.
I thought he was just screaming. I don't know. Are you okay? Hey, if you got something we should be on the lookout for, like Bryce said, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. Also, go buy a new PC at Doghouse Systems. Tell them we sent you, and then they won't repossess all of the machines Brian uses.
Yeah. Also, buckle up for about a month of me giving public service announcements, constantly banging the drum about how you should be afraid of supply chain disturbances. Like we sent out an email. We're doing our Black Friday pricing today on scamstuff.com. It's and it's not because we're greedy. It's because literally it's the only way we could think of that there's a good chance that you'll get anything from us. So we sent out this doom and gloom email, and we got emails back from people saying like, yeah, hey, I'm on the West Coast. Here's a photo of the North. And then it's just nothing but container ships lined up. Here's a photo to the South. Nothing but container ships lined up. Like, you are 100% right. Thank you for your service. When I was walking around, somebody stopped me and said, "Are you Brian Brushwood?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Thank you for your honesty in that email that you sent out."
I don't know if this is a joke or not.
It's actually not. It really happened.
Wow.
Happened at the Ludacris concert.
That's the best story. There's a lot of good stories today. That's the best one today.
We're not messing around. We put in Black Friday pricing right now. If you want something good golly, please jump on it right now.
All right, let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines.
Bloomberg found some documents that indicate Netflix calculates a monetary impact value for its shows to decide how well they're doing. It's not just straight views. It's a complicated formula. And for instance, Squid Game generated $891.1 million in impact value compared to its budget of $21.4 million. So it's not just box office receipts, but it's the equivalent of that for Netflix. The document also showed that 132 million people had watched Squid Game in the first 23 days, beating Bridgerton to become Netflix's most popular series ever. Imagine Netflix will announce that officially at some point. 89% of people who started Squid Game watched at least 75 minutes or more than one episode. So they got through at least 1.5 episodes. 87 million people finished it all the way in the first 23 days. That's 66% of people who started it. And that was a delayed reaction because Nielsen released its streaming numbers for the week of September 13th, which was the first week Squid Game was on Netflix. And Squid Game isn't even in the top 10. Lucifer was number 1 that week with 1.6 billion minutes of viewing. So Squid Game, did that in 23 days, but probably less considering when people started to jump in and watch.
I totally believe it. Also, Alamo Drafthouse may have made it out to the other side. Alamo Drafthouse, Lower Manhattan, will open October 21st, the first new location to open since before 2020. It's the first Manhattan location. It's the third in New York City area. It's coming soon, and the locations will be at Washington, D.C., Arlington, Virginia, and St. Louis, Missouri, and Staten Island. Thank goodness for our friends over at What We Do in the Shadows.
The Staten Island one involves former members of the Wu-Tang Clan as well. Like,
what about Guillermo? Special
curation and Guillermo. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association says it will award the Golden Globes in 2022. Screw you, NBC. They're going to do it anyway, even if you're not going to air an event. Letters went out to studios to explain the eligibility rules. It'll probably be reduced categories. They might do it like as a press release like they did during the writer's strike that one year. That's my guess.
Fandango-owned Voodoo has launched an app on the Oculus Quest VR headsets. Voodoo will now be the movie and TV store for the Oculus. Voodoo has more than 60 million registered users. Tom, do you know anything about Fandango?
I know that my wife works for Rotten Tomatoes and Fandango, and that's how I get my health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that the Oculus is awesome.
Yeah. Not every operator can make its own television sets. We talked about Sky doing it. Sky is part of Comcast. Comcast is going to do one for its Xfinity brand as well. So for those poor non-Comcast owned cable operators out there, a smart TV service provider called Viewed, spelled V-E-W-D, Viewed, is partnering with TV maker Vestel, V-E-S-T-E-L, not like virgins, to offer operator-branded TV sets. If you don't know Vestel, well, you're not alone, but they are Europe's largest TV manufacturer, and they sell TVs for brands like JVC, Hitachi, Telefunken, and Toshiba.
And finally, Redbox has signed a contract with Lionsgate for distribution. Yes, Redbox, the DVD rental box company, has been making original content for its streaming service, and Lionsgate will now handle distribution for its other streaming services. Redbox says it expects to release 36 original movies per year. Go Redbox.
Lionsgate will handle distribution to other streaming services. In other words, Redbox is like
Redbox, right? Like
yeah,
Redbox as a
like,
content creator, right?
Yeah, we're making original content to put on Redbox, but also we could use money from other people. So could you sell this to IMDb TV for us, please? Lionsgate, thanks.
What does that say when it's like when you're a content distributor who decides to get into making content, and then you say, well, it's not like anybody else wants this. Wait, does anybody want to distribute this for us?
Yeah. Well, no, I interpreted this as Redbox going like, let's try some originals and we'll put them on ours and see how they do. Hey, they did pretty good. Maybe we could sell this to other people now.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I could see that.
All right. Normally, this is where we would get dispatches from the front, but all is quiet on the cord cutting front, Brian.
Yeah, look, every so often we have to remind you guys that we really do listen to what you have to say. And we did get a lot of emails of recommendations of stuff to try out. But what we love are your hot takes. Find some moments that you disagree with us. Hit us up, cordkillers@gmail.com, please.
Indeed. Send us emails. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on twitch.tv/Night Attack, also carried on diamondclub.tv, Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk to you again next time.
Hey, Tom Merritt, what's going on?
I'm just hanging out here watching this scroll go by. What are you doing?
Trying to set up a bit where we thank our beautiful, beautiful patrons, all these wonderful names.
I'm sorry, I'm too distracted looking at these beautiful, beautiful patron names going by. Look at that one. I mean, if you wanted to be one of these people, patreon.com/cordkillers would be the place to go.
I mean, they're scratching our itch, like, because we're addicted.
As long as it's consensual, like,
we're addicted to their money.
And love. Might as well face it.
Well, God damn it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.